So when I started cycling, the guy who sold me my first bike said, don't do that here. You have beautiful mountains, but they're just too steep. And I think that's a perfect metaphor for starting something here in Vorarlberg. Everything is there, but actually doing it is really tough and hard. The guy who can tell you everything about that knows everything about blockchain. But not only that, with his recent project, he also knows everything about the chain and queue around your block in the city near you. Welcome on stage, Christoph.
Hello everyone, nice to be on the show. Thanks for inviting me to the WorkerConf this year, 2021. I'm really looking forward to the conference, and here is my talk about unstoppable websites with Skynet and Handshake. A bit about me. I'm a software developer building websites for the last 24 years. When I started first, I was, I think, 15. That's my first project. It feels like where we are right now in the blockchain space. It's just like a few years to go, but we are building the building blocks to really create a decentralized world. And I'm really enthusiastic about it and hope that we can solve some problems we have right now. A bit about myself. I'm working on a product called Citymonitor. It's a software as a service platform for municipalities to help them to be more sustainable, get more insights into their resources and how they work with their resources, and to improve their communication to the citizens. About myself, I'm a snowboarder and a mountain biker, so I hope I can get some kilometers and altitude in for tomorrow's challenge. And on Twitter you can reach me as Kork, and yeah, my name is Christoph Klocker. So the current state of the web is a bit, I think it's going the wrong direction. We have some really big players in the space. So we have Alibaba, Google, Amazon, Azure, Tencent, you name it, all the big ones. They're building this cloud computing infrastructure, which is really powerful, which I am building and still building on, and has, of course, some advantages. You can just use the resources. But in the end, it's just like we are just dependent on these huge players, and we saw that comes with some advantages, disadvantages. So we're just we are in the hands of some big players, like on the infrastructure side. And if we look at the product side, if we look here, we see like Mark Zuckerberg, he can delete any post I publish because he wants to. If it's the reason they call it fake news or not, who cares? Amazon, like if we're using the Kindle infrastructure, they can just delete any books that's out there, and it doesn't happen. And we are living in Fahrenheit 451. On YouTube, they can delete the YouTube videos. They can delete your platforms from their indexes. It's just, you can call it right or wrong. It's always like a personal and individual view. Like even when they suspended Donald Trump's Twitter account, is it against freedom of speech or not? Like there are cases in YouTube, people talking about cryptocurrency, the blockchain space, and they just removed it from the index. Even if you look at China, which is usually the case, that people reference to China where they have this locked borders, they're just censoring keywords of cryptocurrency exchanges and all other kind of things. But you don't have to look to China. It's happening all over the world. So there is this kind of danger that tech companies start censoring for whatever reason they want. If it's right or not, that's, as said, it's subjective. So is it in danger? Like even in Germany we have this talks about Telegram, the messenger. Is he dangerous or not? Because people starting having groups on there. Of course we can say it's bad that people talk about conspiracy theories, but is then the technology bad? Is the information bad? Are the people bad? Like, if you think about money, like people saying like Bitcoin is bad because there are bad things happening with Bitcoin, but aren't bad things happening with any fiat currency like euro, dollars, anything's bad? So are we in the danger of freedom of speech? So what should we do? Can we live with that? Can we just work with that? We're going to more and more centralized spaces. We're building on centralized spaces. It's easy to block centralized spaces. So just we block all the IPs that Amazon has, all the IPs that Google has, and then everything is done. So what can we do about that? Can we work moving into a place where we can't easily be censored? Freedom of speech is there. Move power back from the corporations? Yes, I think so. One more example is like what's the bad things about centralizations? I think everyone knows over the last few years, Amazon Center in Ireland was down. We couldn't access Netflix, Reddit, Spotify, anything. We just had like a Fastly case where someone, if it's true or not, just had a wrong configuration on there that has too much power, and like all the websites went down, the big ones that use Fastly. So if that can happen, and we already know about the Snowden, what Snowden brought up, that you can just click and have all the backdoors in there. So I think we should think about moving into a decentralized world just to give the power back to the people, to us, to the builders. So there's hope out there, because a few of us, we are fighting to create a decentralized world, and we are fighting for the freedom of speech and trying to take back the power from the corporations to the people. So we all talk about blockchain, you know, most people think blockchain is a hype word, blockchain, Bitcoin, mixing everything together. I think what we see now is like a really good case what blockchain can help us to achieve and how blockchain is used in there just to make this all possible. What's not possible there. But I don't go into blockchain itself, but it's just a good use case because it's built up on blockchain. So what we're looking at is the Sire blockchain. So Sire is like started out from a few MIT students in 2014. So it has like some few years on its shoulders, and it's really growing really fast now. It's a typical hockey stick. They've built now the infrastructure. So what it is Sire is a blockchain that allows you to run a node and share your space that you have, excess space. Like if you have some terabytes left in your NAS, you can just start up a Sire node and rent that out. So the Sire blockchain runs on the Sire coins, and you get paid for the Sire coins, or you can even put your files out there, like your photos and pictures, and you're not dependent anymore on a centralized service like Google Photos or Apple Photos, whatever it's called there. And I see all the dots here. There's like one of the dots is my NAS that I'm running at home, and everything is encrypted. So like if you upload a file to the Sire blockchain, it's typically, and you can set that individually, but it's by default it's like redundant, split up into parts, and it's distributed all over the world, and 3-time redundant and totally encrypted. And yes, as I said, like it's paid with the Sire coins. So like if I upload a file, I have no idea where it's gonna end up, but I just know it's there and it's safe. If you see like the capacity is already 3.2 petabytes, there are 514 storage providers with kind of multiple nodes. So, and the used storage is already 1 petabyte, so it's really growing over the last years, especially the last months, because they're building up the new thing. So what you're talking about is like hosting our websites on the Saya blockchain. So like, as I mentioned, anyone can run a node on a decent Synology or QNAP NAS or whatever, like put a Raspberry on there, plug it in. Needs a bit of RAM, but then you're just starting renting out your space you have and be one of the infrastructure endpoints of the world. What they came up with is like Saya was the blockchain just to build up file storing, and the Saya guys started working on what's the next step is Skynet, and Skynet is the decentralized web hosting. So it's a web portal built on Saya, it's built in Saya, and if you run a node, it's running the portal as well. And anyone can, I know you have to start it separately, but anyone can host such portals. And I can use Skynet, I can use my own Vedanova portal and build it up or whatever. There are a few portals out there. And if I upload a file on one portal, it gets pinned. So pinning is called like it's someone pays for it. So this portal pays for it. So, and it's out there and I can access it. And it doesn't matter if it's accessed on the Skynet portal or my own portal or whatever portal. It's just going to be there. And as long as someone pins it, it won't get deleted from the Saya blockchain. So that's really a nice and easy thing. So I even copied from the website how easy it is, as I guess most of you are developers, to upload, implement with the Skynet SDK, JavaScript SDK, upload, download code to use that. And I was really impressed when I first tried it out, and I even improved it a lot. So I uploaded the video and it got download speeds up to I think 800k, and they say talking about 1 gigabit per second. So it's really fast, even if you don't know if it's on someone's NAS. So they did a really good thing there. The next step is, so like we want of the file hosting, what we need is like a decentralized top level domain registrar, and that's another project I want to introduce. That's called Handshake. The company is called Namebase, so Namebase.io is running that. The blockchain is called Handshake. So the difference with typical DNS names, domain name, top level domain names, you have to apply for it. That like only the ICANN can really define what kind of domain types. If there's a new domain type, Berlin, you have to apply for it and stuff. So it's centralized, and in the end you're just leasing the ownership because you need someone like GoDaddy and buy it there, and you pay the annual fees. And yeah, it depends on the authorities. So in the end, if I have a AT domain, I'm dependent on Internet. That's who's like issuing the Austrian domains, that it's allowed, and they just don't revoke it at any time. It's not really privacy. Like I can be like I can be hidden, but like with the whois I can be looked up, which some people might not like to have, and yeah, it's easily seized again if you don't like it. So Handshake is different. So they are building an infrastructure that you have an own blockchain, and you just simply purchase whatever name you want. So like I could purchase Christoph Klocker as a top level domain and build my home.christophklocker. That's the full ownership. It's blockchain based. I can sell it to anyone else. It's just a marketplace at the moment. It's through Namebase.io, so you have to purchase that. And you can even have emoji domains. What's pretty cool. Everyone likes emojis. So it's totally trustless. It's a community-driven project. It's I think they have a DAO behind it. It's totally anonymous. I can purchase it. I can sell it. In the end, it's totally censorship resistant, but it has still some drawbacks. But we get there as well. So here's some examples what I could register for. So Christoph Klocker or .worker for the conference, .fuba, and as I was a bit late to register my domain for this talk, and it's still because it's a process. Like you can purchase one, then at the bidding phase, someone can bid higher, and then it's in the real, and my one is still in the real. So I bought yesterday in a Bartholomeberg for this talk and set that up. So Bartholomeberg is a small village here. In a Bartholomeberg is, I guess, I don't know, it doesn't really exist. But someone, I guess, might be listening to this talk, will be happy that I purchased the domain from him. A bit of a problem right now, as mentioned, when I started 24 years back and was still working with the Netscape Navigator, I think there wasn't even Internet Explorer around. So we are in the early stages. So not all Handshake, not all browser support is yet. Actually, no browser support. The Handshake DNS out of the box, except the Puma browser, which is available on the iPhone, iOS, and on Android. But you can work around. You set up your DNS to this IP, a few other IPs. You can read about that on HDNS.io, and then it resolves. Then it uses this DNS provider, also a community-driven project from the Handshake guys, and it resolves to your top-level domain. They also have like HDNS.2, a redirection where you can use the old system, and it redirects to the page you have. So if we plug it together, like we have now the SIA blockchain and the Handshake domain system, and SIA Skynet for hosting the files, and the DNS names for resolving the files. So we are now that's kind of part of the building blocks for decentralized worlds, which I'm gonna list up a little bit here. Of course, there are about 100 projects out there that trying to achieve different things. But I just want to give you a big quick overview where we should go and where it's gonna happen and what kind of project there are. So like in a few years, everyone is gonna have a decentralized IDs, not just your governmental ID, or maybe it's connected to governmental IDs. So like there's a protocol Elastos out there that's working on that. Of course, we have this big decentralized money network, that's Bitcoin, that's built up. We have the decentralized finance platform, Ethereum, where all kind of projects are building up and building infrastructures for buying and lending. So basically replacing the traditional banking system out there. If you need some computing power, like if you have a rendering machine and rendering 3D files, you could rent that on Golem, it's another blockchain project. And as we just talked about, decentralized websites with SIA and Skynet. And I think there was a talk about serverless in the WorkerConf. So my next step is looking deeply into introducing also into my stack having a serverless functionality. So having on the Akash network is all the blockchain where you can deploy on a Kubernetes based on everyone can run a node. A Kubernetes cluster, small with some resources, and maybe have there some Ruby functions that run my Ruby code, a JavaScript function that get me some external data. and to build a more complex apps, because at the moment what we're going to see now is just static websites. And yeah, that's where I'm heading now, is just to give you a quick intro how you use the building blocks that we just talked to. So let's start here. So what we see here is the Skynet web page, and what they implemented. They just implemented a simple uploader, downloader. So like whenever you want to have a file sharing, share a file with your friends, and you don't want to use WeTransfer because it might end up in some American service and it's not encrypted. So just use this one, select the directory, what I'm doing now, what I did already before. It's going to upload it now in the background. It's using the JavaScript SDK, what we just showed, really simple. And you get a link back, and if I open it, you see, so from the deployment into this decentralized network to serving it back, I think it's probably one of the easiest deployment methods you can have. And I have my website here, and I can view it, I can share the file, could be a video as well, and it's just going to be shared. You just have to be careful. Whoever has the link can access it, and it keeps pinned like for 3 months. So like if you have some confidential files, you better zip it again and password protect it, but the storage itself is encrypted. So the next thing is like I built a little really small website, so I'm using Middleman there. I don't know if people might or might not know Middleman. Middleman is a Ruby framework like Jekyll that GitHub uses this for generating static websites, blocks. I think there's Hugo on Go and a few others out there, but in the end it's just like any other static website tools. So what I created here is just like a simple page that has like a title, has an H1 image and a little paragraph in there. It's the layout, so it generates me a little web page. So I have the server running and I can see how it looks locally. So if I refresh that, that's my current page. It's called In der Bartholomäberg because that's my domain name I purchased. Calling, I have the workaround conf logger here. And so now we want to deploy it to Skynet. How you do that? So like for this talk I wrote a Ruby gem and a Middleman plugin to upload it to Sire. It's pretty easy. So like if you don't have a library out there for your preferred programming language, just check out the docs. It's really, they have all the curl examples, all the Python SDK and the JavaScript SDK, so you can list it. So now I generated my website and all the static files. It's ending up in the build directory here. There's the images, it's the index file. And the next is like I'm going to deploy. Deploy is my gem I wrote, and this is now pushing it to the same through websites with JavaScript SDK to the Sire network and the Sire portal. So what I get back is a Sire link, and if I have that link, I always get like this hash that I can use. So I copy that. Actually, I already did, and I just simply can paste it in here. Like it's always like the portal, different portals. You just have the hash here. I have some problems with I think there's a bug right now with the if I call a root, it delivers me XHTML and it causes a parsing error. That's why I have to pass the index HTML. So it's gonna be fixed soon. But in the end, like that's how I can use the portal to call the file I just uploaded on the whole directory. So we see now it's hosted on Skynet, and it's again just a reminder, it's not anywhere on the website. Anyone who has a node, I have no idea where it's hosted. It might be my NAS at home, my storage server, or anywhere else. Maybe it's served from the States. I have no idea. And that's a good thing in the end, so it's hard to block that. So yeah, what's next? What I want to show you? So now I have this normal file sharing link in the end, so people can download the things. They could get the image files as well. Now we look at the namebase website. So I have my domain settings for my Inner Bartholomäberg, and as Namebase and Sire has a cooperation, so they have a special text file where you can point to, and I'm simply setting here the link, the Sire link, in a text record, and with that I get a better domain. I can use my domain, still not directly at the moment, but I can have this name, so it's always like my domain name in about Bartholomäberg .hns csky.net, and if I call that, I get the same. So now we have really the website served through a decentralized blockchain top level domain management system that's called Handshake or Namebase, and we have the files that's running through the CSky portal. As mentioned, it could be any portal as well, so if someone would block the CSky portal, we could just switch to another portal and get the file served as well, so it's hard to censorship that. And the files are lying on the Sire blockchain. So going back to my presentation, as mentioned, these are all the building blocks that's out there. Don't expect it that you can run right now the best and the most powerful applications out there. It's still the early phases, of course, but as you see, it's responsive, it's snappy. You can, I guess a lot of people of you are using React. React is like really pushed on that you just build React interfaces and use the Web3 interface to interact with Ethereum, interact with Skynet or decentralized IDs. And the next step, what I was looking at, is like Akash. So Akash allows you to run Postgres and a WordPress and a PHP and a Ruby on Rails. Like there's some guides on there to build like the next level. So I don't have now a centralized hosting provider where if you upload it to whatever, Amazon or just like the German providers like 1&1, it can be censored. You can use Akash and just deploy it there. You just simply create a YAML file. Maybe have a quick look at that, just to wrap it up, that you see it's not just like static websites. That's like how Akash is using, just as I said like you install the app. It's like similar to Docker based. You define the resources, you define your memory, you define your storage, what you need for, or you put your storage on the Sire network. So there's some guides on there. You set your price and off you go. You don't have to sign up anywhere. You just need some Akash tokens as well and deploy whatever you like. So thanks for listening to me. I hope you get the idea, what's good, what's bad, where the world is moving, maybe not, hopefully not. But in the end, we are more and more dependent on the big players, and if we all work together, we can move into a decentralized world together and build an infrastructure out there. Pretty much everything is open source, so if you want to contribute to that, just check out the Discord channels. I'm in this desired channel because I'm running into some problems that won't work, or the documentation is not there yet, probably. But it helps anyone. We all can make the world a better place and give us selves privacy back. So thanks for listening, and hope to catch you on the mountains or later on the Discord. Have a good day. Bye.